Yo, it's Two Side Anime here, and today we're going to talk about all the criticism and conversations circulating around the House of the Dragon Season 2. And honestly, I'm not that shocked, especially what they did to Season 8 of the Game of Thrones series.
No, God! No, God, please, no!
I was very late to that party and started that series a year and a half ago. But when I heard the announcement of the House of the Dragon, I quickly hopped on the bandwagon by listening to all the audiobooks of the Dance of the Dragons, I wanted to make sure this time I was well informed about the series, so while watching it, I will understand the difference between the show version and the book version. And I quickly noticed that a lot of characters in the series was falling victim to this mischaracterization from the showrunners because they wanted to set the series in a more modern day tone. Because of this, Daemon Targaryen fell victim of this perspective change by the showrunner. And even though I can't say this with a straight face, I believe the Harrenhal ARC was well written solely because it attempted to fix an issue that the showrunners created by skipping all the important moments of character growth for Daemon Targaryen. They replaced some of Daemon's greatest moments with subpar character growth and lackluster moments, making Daemon Targaryen to look like a very immature child trying to fill the shoes of a grown man, the man that Rhaenyra needed for the war. See, in the book, Daemon was described to be both equal parts of light and dark, the ultimate gray area character. Daemon was viewed as a hero to many and a villain to some. Unfortunately, the show only showed Daemon Targaryen's dark side, only showing him as an evil character, which to me is a major violation to everything that the book Daemon stands for. This is why the showrunners had to create a messy arc like the Harrenhal ARC to show Daemon transitioning from child to man. And before you guys run into my comment section saying that Daemon Targaryen was a cheater, if you own the Targaryen history book, you would know that the Targaryen men were the cornstars of Westeros. It was really that bad. That still doesn't take away anything from the book version of Daemon's character. There were multiple important events that the showrunners altered from the book version that diminished Daemon Targaryen's character, making the great Targaryen warrior look like an insecure, abusive, immature child, and that just wasn't the case. So in today's video, we're going to focus on a lot of those key moments. Heir of the Day situation, the Heir of the Day and Misery, the White Worm situation, the Triarchy War being cut short, Daemon unaliving his wife, Daemon hanging out with Rhaenyra while the Greens were taking over the court, his relationship with his late wife Laena and his children, Daemon being against using dragons in the war, and also the siege of King's Landing. So before we continue down this path, I just want to warn you guys, there will be spoilers in this video. You've been warned, but you guys know I'm about to talk a bunch of nonsense that sounds good, but just let me cook. Before we start, I want you guys to keep in mind that everything Daemon was attempting to do was to protect his bloodline and his house, and prove himself to his older brother that he is a grown man. But Sir Otto Hightower wanted Daemon to be far away from the court. He didn't trust or like Daemon, and he knew deep inside that Daemon would foil any plan of him ascending the throne by using his daughter. So let's start with the Heir to a Day situation. See, in the show, it shows Daemon actually saying it, but in the book, it was never confirmed that Daemon did say it. It was all speculation and a rumor. The situation still kind of went the same way. He talked to his brother Viserys. Viserys was of course mad. It took a couple months or some time before Viserys named Rhaenyra the heir to the Iron Throne. Daemon of course was furious. He left on the back of Caraxes with Mysaria. Daemon went to Dragonstone for a year and a half and Mysaria became pregnant. When Daemon learned that his concubine was pregnant, he wanted to honor her with a dragon egg to honor the traditions of the Targaryen house. This infuriated King Viserys. King Viserys didn't send Sir Otto, and it wasn't Rhaenyra who retrieved the egg like it was showed in the show. No, it was just Viserys telling Daemon, banish your whore, return to your lawful wife, and return the egg or be deemed a traitor. Daemon folded to his brother's wishes. He sent Mysaria away and returned to his lawful wife. In the process, Mysaria fell on her voyage and her baby died. This moment was important because it showed that Daemon loved and respected his brother, and he was just acting out to get his attention because he was pushed away from court where he belongs by the side of his older brother. Daemon was just doing what any younger sibling would do to get the attention of their older sibling. Also showed that emotional side of Daemon because he was grieving and mad that his unborn child died because of his older brother. But in the show they changed it to make Daemon look like an immature child. He almost started a war against his brother when Sir Otto came to talk to him, and the only reason why they didn't fight was because Rhaenyra came and saved the day. Another key character moment that was cut short for Daemon Targaryen's character was the Triarchy War. See, the Triarchy War lasted for a very long time, and I think we only stayed on it for one episode. This arc was important in the book. It showed him as the leader and warrior that he truly was and where he excelled at, and his brother 100% supported him. His brother didn't need his wife Alicent to tell him how important the war Daemon was fighting in the Stepstones. No, his brother completely respected it because he knows his brother was better at playing warrior than sitting at court. Daemon winning the war in the Triarchy and being named the King of the Narrow Seas was the very thing he needed to finally prove himself to his brother that he was worthy to be by his side. That's why he went straight to King's Landing, took off his crown, and bent the knee to his brother. Everyone that was at the ceremony jumped up screaming and happy because the two brothers finally reunited. Everybody was rooting for them to become friends again, even Princess Rhaenyra. This leads us to Daemon and Princess Rhaenyra's relationship and how they skipped over a couple moments that took place in the book that really showed the affection that Daemon had for Princess Rhaenyra. During this time, after his return from the Narrow Seas, Princess Rhaenyra and Daemon became extremely close because Alicent finally gave birth to Rhaenyra's half-siblings, and Rhaenyra really felt isolated in this situation. The Greens were already taking over court, and her father was watching over Alicent. This left a lot of free time for her to bond and become close with Daemon. They used to travel together, race their dragons for fun, and they really became close. Daemon was the light in the tunnel that Rhaenyra needed. Taking us the Maidenhead situation is that the Kingsguard caught Daemon in bed with Rhaenyra. Rhaenyra was locked in her room, and because she confessed that she truly loves Daemon, and King Viserys was mad, the exile still took place. Daemon did ask for Rhaenyra's hand in marriage, but the only reason why Viserys said no is because his lawful wife was still alive, and it would be impossible and too messy. A lot of people were saying this was Daemon being a predator to try to get power, but in my eyes, and also if you read the book, he truly loved Rhaenyra, and he understood that the Greens were going to try to take over the throne, and in order to protect the Targaryen house and the name against the Hightowers, and you have to remember, if you have the history book, the Hightowers and Targaryens always had this back and forth conflict. It was kind of weird. Visenya was rolling in her grave the moment Aemon mounted Vhagar. I know she was looking up mad. Aemon was doing what was necessary to protect Princess Rhaenyra and also protect the house Targaryen. His brother was just too soft to realize this. Daemon Targaryen never unalived his wife in the book. His wife was on a hunting trip on a horse, and she fell and hit her head, and when she finally felt like she was strong enough to get out the bed, she stood up and she passed on. Daemon was never abusive or cruel to the women in his life. I don't even understand how that version of Daemon came into existence in the show. He never choked Rhaenyra, and Rhaenyra wasn't afraid of him. Rhaenyra trusted Daemon with her life. That we're on the topics of wife and the women that Daemon loved, we need to talk about his relationship with Laena and his two daughters. Really hate how the show changed this relationship. See, after the Maidenhead situation, Daemon was exiled, so he went back to the Stepstones, where he continued his fight. Daemon, growing in age, finally got tired of the war and returned back to Driftmark, where he took Laena Velarion's hand and married Lord Corlys's daughter. See, in the books, Laena and Daemon were very much in love. Laena was known to be the prettiest woman of Westeros. There were even romantic songs about the two flying all the way to Old Valyria to discover the mysteries of their houses. Even though this adventure was probably not true, they still traveled around Westeros together, and everywhere they went, they were received with love and respect. This is when Laena gave birth to Daemon's two daughters and Pentos. Daemon was so excited that he sent a raven to his brother King Viserys, requesting his brother's blessing. This was important because everybody at the court didn't want Viserys to acknowledge Daemon's new daughters. But King Viserys said something very important. Daemon is a father now. He has changed. And King Viserys granted Daemon the leave to come to King's Landing and bring his children to court for his brother's blessing. The amount of love that Daemon had for Laena is the same love that he showed his daughters. So I don't understand where the show got this concept from. Princess Rhaenyra eventually became best friends with Laena, and she loved Laena so much that she wedded her sons Luke and Jace to Laena's daughters. That's how much they loved each other. They were one strong family. Not once did the Valyrian family ever question the legitimacy of Luke and Jace. They all trusted Rhaenyra and stood with her. The death of Laena hit way harder in the books compared to how it was displayed in the show, because Daemon's desperation to save his wife was there in the books, but missing in the show. Laena was pregnant with Daemon's son, and Princess Rhaenyra was by her side the whole entire time. She gave birth to a malformed child, and it took away all her strength, and she was struck with grief. Daemon saw that his wife's condition was getting worse, so he flew all the way to Dragonstone to get Princess Rhaenyra's maester to come save his wife. But by the time he got there, Laena got out the bed and fell down the stairs and perished. It was evident in the book that Daemon truly loved his wife, and even the child actors that played Daemon's daughter in the series didn't agree with how the showrunners handled the situation. They ended up posting moments of Daemon comforting the two outside on their Instagram page, silently but loudly showing their disapproval with how the showrunners were handling Daemon's character. Let's move on to the beginning of the war situation, because in the show it showed Daemon as the aggressor, the one person that wanted to go to war, use dragon fire, etc. But in the books, that's not the case. Prince Daemon agreed with his wife when they said they should not use dragons to fight the war, and since Daemon was the only war veteran on their side, they all listened to him. They were actually shocked that he didn't want to use his dragons. Daemon was partially a part of the Battle of the Ravens, when everybody was sending their ravens to different houses to see where their allegiance lie and who would be on their side if they go to war. He wasn't trying to start a war while Rhaenyra was giving birth. He wasn't just acting irrationally trying to scare everybody around him. No, he was cool, calm, and collected because he's a war veteran. Daemon stated that when he was at war with the Triarchy and the Stepstones, they learned to fear the beats of Caraxes' wings. When they heard Caraxes coming, they would flee. But that was only because they didn't have dragons. The only thing that can kill a dragon is another dragon. Again, Daemon only wanted to protect his house, the Targaryen name. The dragons are a symbol of House Targaryen's power, so why would he put that in jeopardy by having them kill each other? You have to think about things like that. It was Daemon who came up with the plan to seize King's Landing. He outsmarted Aemon by using his rage and his short-sightedness to one-up him and take over the throne. And ultimately, Aemon got mad and burned down the Riverlands, went crazy. But it wasn't Queen Alicent that let Rhaenyra get the easy drop to get to the throne. That didn't happen. But that's it. I can go on for days about how they ruined Daemon's character, but honestly, I believe his character was ruined in an attempt to make Alicent and Rhaenyra the important key players in the show. But everybody knows in the book, Daemon Targaryen played a major role with everything. But that's it. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments, and I'm out.